Tucker, but what do I do if?
But what about this? How?
How do I handle this situation?
I don't know. I don't know. Do you want to take the first one and we'll alternate?
Yeah. I like
Okay,
that.
so we're gonna go through this. But what do I do if situations? There's going to be more added to these eventually, but this is what kind of we covered in our training in the beginning of the year, and this is what we still have. And I think this is important to come back to.
Yeah,
and
sure.
if you are new with us, then you'll know what to do if.
What do I do if a student refuses to participate? What a good question. So you're sitting in small group and a student is refusing to participate in conversation, in prayer, whatever. You know what? Honestly, it's okay. Like, especially if they're a new student, they're a quiet student, they're just refusing to participate, it's okay. You don't need to push them too far. But if it's a student who's in small group and they've been there and they just don't talk that much, as a leader, encourage them. Like, we all have those small groups where we know who our talkers are. And if we're silent for more than 3 seconds, they're gonna have something to say, and that's great. Love that. But there are some students that are more quiet, and so as a leader, we need you guys to be intentional and say like, "Hey, Abby, what do you think about this? Because I think you got some really great things to say. I see you thinking. What do you have to say?" And that's a really great way to get students to participate who might be quiet. Another way this might come into play is like, hey, what if we're playing a game in the auditorium or we're doing worship and a student is just refusing to play, refusing to join in worship? That's okay too. We're not here to force students to do anything. The only thing that we're here to do is just love on them, teach them about Jesus, pray over them, pray that they have an authentic relationship with the Lord one day. But it's not our job to force them into fun, to force them into worship. So I would say the best thing that you can do is just model for them what it looks like to play a game and have fun. Model for them what it looks like to worship and engage in that. Model for them what it looks like to be attentive during the message time. And that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I like that. Here's the next one. So what do I do if a student tries to leave the building during programming? No! Stop them!
Cut it off.
Stop in the name of love. You take my child
away.
No. In the name of love, actually legit. Like that's an important time. Like they're getting the gospel. They're worshiping God. They're learning what it looks like to live in community with people their age. And so like for them to just get up and leave without us knowing about it, that's a problem. And so just make sure if you see people that are leaving, I mean, I get it, like going to the bathroom, that's acceptable. But like if they walk out of the building, yeah, that can't happen. Now, if a parent is picking them up and we know prior to that, that's great. But yeah, we don't want people leaving our building from times of what I would say like 6:45 until 8:30. Yeah, I mean a little bit, maybe 8 o'clock for some of the middle schoolers that their parents have to pick them up and stuff like that. We get that, but yeah, we don't want them leaving during our programming. As simple as that.
Sweet. Next, what I do if a student knowingly goes into the bathroom of the opposite gender? Ooh, okay.
2019 is hard. Maybe 2020. Maybe you'll be watching this in 2020. You'll be like, it's easier now, but I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will.
It's a clear vision year, but
it's just gonna keep getting harder. I like that's just the truth. Okay, so the student goes knowingly into the bathroom of the opposite gender. Okay, if they are clearly a boy or they're clearly a girl and they are going in the wrong bathroom, shut that down. Okay, it shouldn't be happening ever. No excuses, no reasons, no grace in that situation. Shut it down. Now, living in 2019 is hard. And so we don't need you guys calling out a girl who might, maybe she doesn't wear makeup. Maybe she got short hair. Maybe she is an awkward middle school and she's trying to figure it out, okay?
Yeah.
How devastating would it be if you were to tap that girl on the shoulder and say, you can't go into the girls' bathroom, what do you think you're doing? You would destroy her.
Yeah.
You would ruin her. So please, use discernment. Just don't be going willy-nilly and being like, well, I think it's a girl and she's trying to go into the guy's bathroom, or I think it's a boy and he's trying to go into, really, unless you, know what's going on, just try to tackle it with discernment. And if you don't know what's going on, you can bring Tucker and I in it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll take the heat. We'll make sure things go well.
I think for pretty much all of these, but what do I do ifs, you can come to staff staff members.
That's like the end of it. If you forget what we say in this training, just always be like, but what do I do if I go to Stephanie and Tucker?
Yeah, that's
like
it.
that's ultimately the end all be all. But
all right, here's the next one. So what happens when a student is engaging in explicit language during YG, otherwise known as they're cussing, cursing, or swearing? All the different words for
the same thing,
for the bad words. Yeah, that's something that if it's happening during like a message and one of us is speaking, that's something that we would highly recommend that you shut that down as quick as possible by just saying, hey, we don't say those things right now. This is really distracting. And so yeah, that's a big deal. I might even address it and be like, hey, whoa, chill. Like please don't say that here. Now we never want to embarrass anybody, but typically if they're saying this language out loud during the message, during like the programming side of things, like they got issues and they need to be addressed. They're not going to be embarrassed, right? But if you hear something slip on the basketball court, or you hear something on the ping pong or in the activity center or whatever, like just pull them aside and just say, hey, watch your language, please. Like we want to keep this environment safe. And we want to have this be an encouraging environment. So yeah, just pull them aside and say, hey, please don't say those words. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Just don't shame them.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
Lay down the law.
Yeah. Grace and truth.
Next, what happens if a student becomes physically aggressive? You could have knocked me off my chair.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Please stop. That's what I would do if that was you. If it's a new student, or I don't care if it's not a new student and they're just becoming physically aggressive, leaders, we don't need you getting hurt, and we don't need you possibly getting in the middle of something and then a student accuses you of hitting them or becoming physically aggressive.
That's bad.
Because we can't fix that for you. So don't put yourself in harm's way in that sense either. That's why we have our SRT team, our security team. They are, once again, equipped to deal with those situations. And so they will. So please just don't worry about it. Just make sure that no more students get involved in a physically aggressive fight or whatever. Then
keep other students away.
Yeah.
Keep them
That's
safe.
your job.
Yeah. We will diffuse the scenario as quickly and as safely as possible. So moving on to the next one. Student openly doesn't agree with Scott Hill's beliefs. Here's the deal. Not everyone's going to agree with what we believe in. Now, if they're disruptive or they're causing a problem, please get up with Stephanie or I, and we will address that. Now, if we're unable to, just ask them, say, hey, we respect you, we honor your beliefs, and if you don't honor ours, like you don't have to be here. We want you to be here, you matter here, but if you could just keep like those things to yourself, and maybe if you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. I would love to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't really believe in what we believe, and I would love to ask them, why are they here? There's a reason. God has a purpose, and he can change everybody's heart. So yeah. Cool.
Next, what do I do if a parent is upset by the message, music, or small group content? This is a fun part of my job because I'm the student coordinator, and Tucker left that position and became the pastor. So now I get to do all the fun and he gets to have all these conversations. So you can send any kind of angry parent right to Tucker.
Yeah.
And the Lord has blessed him and equipped him to handle those.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it. He'll do it with grace and truth.
I'm a shepherd now.
He's a shepherd now. So he'll do it.
Please send them my way, please.
And like when we say like send it to Tucker, I mean like literally send it to Tucker. If it's a youth group issue, the pastors of this church have said, Tucker, we trust you, we have vetted you, and you're in charge of this youth group area. So send it to Tucker first. You don't need to send it to all of our pastors. Just send it to Tucker.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, you're welcome. I trust you, man.
Yeah, and another thing too is like if you hear someone bad mouthing the ministry and they have no means to do that, shut that down. That's gossip. Be on our team. I'm on your team. I'm gonna fight for you. If you are doing everything we're asking you to do, I'm going to fight for you, and I'm going to take your side every time. And I'll go to battle for you because I love you and you're on my team. I hope that you would do the same for me. So send them my way. Yeah, that's it. Here's the next one. So a student tries to leave before a small group. We value that small group time. We would ask that they make small group a priority. That's simply stated. There might be some scenarios where parents have to pick them up, and that's okay. But we really, really, really encourage that time, because that's a time where they get to apply the message to their life. So let's make sure that everyone gets guided towards small group and stays in small group for as long as possible.
Yeah, perfect. What do I do if students are engaging in PDAIU? Public displays of affection. Here's what's up.
Can I tell you something real quick?
Don't want to hear.
Yeah. So when Miranda and I were in this ministry, they used to say, as students, they used to say no PDA, and we're like, we're not pilots driving airplanes.
They're married now. They got it out of their system. But
seriously, don't be weird.
Yeah, seriously. So here's what's up. I don't hate high school relationships. I don't. But this is a place where we come to be in community with one another. It's a place where we come to worship God, to learn more about Him. And a part of worshiping God when you're in high school does not mean hugging up on your boyfriend, on your girlfriend, touching their leg, doing the creepy, I'm going to crawl up your leg kind of thing. No. Okay? None of that. I'm okay. And my personal preference is just no PDA in general. However, I'm okay if they're sitting in their people out here in the activity center and they're holding hands. Okay, whatever. Okay, that's fine. But as soon as they get into the auditorium, I don't need to see any PDA. When we are in the auditorium, we are worshiping God. We are focusing on Him. We are learning about His Word. And you do not need to be holding your significant other's hand while you're doing that. You are not married. You do not get those privileges yet. You are in our space. No PDA. You are distracting people.
Sassy Steph just came
Yeah,
out.
sassy stuff came out because PDA just really makes me upset. Even sometimes on the adult level. Like maybe some of you adults need to hear this right now. You engaging in PDA in the middle of a Sunday morning service. Y'all can't wait till you get back to your homes. You are worshiping the Lord. Hold your significant other's hand. That's sweet. That's nice. But you over here giving your significant other a full body massage while Pastor Phil's trying to preach? You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. I just feel uncomfortable just with the idea of someone massaging their significant other.
I have seen it. I have actually walked out of messages like on Sunday mornings because I've sat behind.
Here?
Oh no! It was when I was living in the city.
In the city.
But I did. I walked out because they were giving their significant other a full head massage. Like I thought they were gonna pull out one of those head massages right there and then.
That's awkward.
It's too much. No PDA. It's distracting.
Yeah.
Okay, next. I got heated. We just need to move on.
That was fun, though. That's going to be on YouTube forever.
I will stand by that.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Yep.
I see a fellow leader not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Here's the deal. We are brothers and sisters in Christ. We go to one another in grace, and in truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that means don't call them out in front of a bunch of students and a bunch of other leaders. That's not giving them grace. But instead, pull them aside maybe at the end of the night and say, hey, I noticed that you weren't living up to expectations that all of us have to follow. And I just want to encourage you to do better. I know that's really awkward and maybe you're not ready for that conversation yet, and that's okay. I'm not going to force you to hold anybody accountable, but I want you to in grace and in truth. But if that's something that you want to go to Steph or you want to come to me and just say, hey, I want to let you know that this person's not living up to expectation, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then we can address that. But I've always said this: snitches do get stitches, but they heal. They heal.
I've never heard you say that before. Ever.
I've always said that.
Oh yeah, he's always said it.
They heal. I have my dad accidentally slammed my pinky in the door and it fell off and it healed.
Your whole pinky didn't fall off.
Yeah, it did. From here down. So anyways, next one.
Wow, moveon.com. All right. And this is our final one. What do I do if I find out that a student is in the wrong small group for their age?
This is a big one.
This is a big one. Here's what's up. Oh, we got a lot of homeschoolers. We got a lot of students who are going to the early college. So grades are kind of messy. Like they just are in our youth group. Like a student is like, well, by my age, I should be in 7th grade, but by my schooling, I'm in 8th grade or whatever. And it can be messy. What we would ask is that our students are in their correct small groups for their grade. That's what we're sticking with. And if you find out that a student is in the wrong small group, do not address it in the middle of the small group.
Yeah.
We've had leaders do that before. It creates shame. It causes students to not want to ever come back again. It's not a way to approach it with grace. If you find out that a student is in the wrong small group, you need to pull them aside and you need to have a separate conversation with them. Just try to figure out what's going on. Because we do have a policy that if a student decides, they say, hey, I know I'm technically in 7th grade, but I want to be in the 8th grade group. This is where my friends are. This is, what I'm like the age group that I'm studying in school or what. I don't know how homeschool works. I really don't, but just stick with me here. If they decide that they're going to be in that group and if their parents tell us that that is a-okay. So it's not just the student, but it's if the student and the parent both agrees that that student can be in that next grade level up, then that is fine. They can be in that. The only consequence of that is that when they become a senior or a fake senior or whatever, that's their last year. So even though they might be in school for another year after that, sorry, you've aged out of our program. You made that decision in 8th grade. It is what it is. So that's the consequence of trying to go a grade up. But you want to speak anything else into that?
I think you nailed it. We value the fact that our small group time is huge, and we always want relationships to develop within their small group, and it's always helpful when they're in the same stage of life. And so we value that. And one thing I just thought of is that when students say, I don't know anybody in my small group, that's why I don't go. Isn't that an oxymoron a little bit?
It's a little funny. You don't know them because
you don't go.
You don't go.
Or they're all different from me. Good. That's the body of Christ. That's a little bit of a rant. But yeah, this was a long video. If you stayed with us, thank you so much. The next video, we're going to be talking all about our faith steps and the faith steps that we want to see happen as a 6th grader goes into high school, as a high schooler leaves and goes into college. And so we'll walk those down, and I can't wait. So get your notes out, get ready, go to the bathroom, get a snack. I love pretzels.
Get some sweet tea. I'm about to get some sweet tea.
Okay, perfect.